Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call the meeting to order. As a reminder, please note that board meetings are being recorded for the convenience of those unable to attend this video conference. A recording and closed captioning will be posted to the BERS YouTube channel following the meeting. Sharon, please call the roll.
Adriana Alessia,
Present.
Mariel Ali,
Present.
Erin Fallon,
Present.
Evie Shade Arnold, Shirley O'Connor, Aaron Bobel, Tazaretti,
Present.
Marjorie Deanstead, John Dorset,
Present.
Amy Fair, Gregory Faulkner, Anita Garcia, Anthony Giordano,
Present.
Dr. Angela Green,
Present.
Raji Hannah Jones, David Hassan, Alice Ho,
Present.
Rima Izquierdo,
Present online.
Yadira Jimenez,
Present.
Donald Nesbitt, Sharon Odwin, Ellen Ong, Renita Parsons,
Present.
Mahisha Seth,
Present.
and Frank Sirabella.
Present.
Sharon, do we have quorum?
Yes.
I would just ask, since I don't know all the new PEP members just of yet, if you respond or ask a question, just please state your name, so for the record, so we can have that. Welcome to all of you.
Yes.
We're happy to have you. Thank you for your service. All right. Thank you, Sharon. Noting the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Retirement held on May 13, 2025. The first item on the agenda is calendar item number 1. Noting of the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Retirement held on May 13, 2025. May I have a motion to consider?
So moved.
So moved, Tony.
Second.
Second, Mahisha. All in favor of approving the minutes for May 13, 2025, please respond in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item on this afternoon's agenda is an update from the Executive Director, Sandy Rich. Sandy?
Hey, Corinne, and I want to welcome new trustees. If I haven't gotten you your BERS pin or a copy of the Green Book Rethinking Investments, please let me know. It's a very good resource to trustees as they face investment decision-making. We've got a packed agenda, and because we haven't met since May. And given administration transitions, our experiences, we may have difficulty getting quorum and having meetings early in the year. So this is a very important meeting. Thank you for attending. Some of the key things we're going to be doing tonight. Salil Mehta is going to be discussing changes in our investment policy statement that he has been working on with the consultants and the Bureau of Asset Management. These edited policies codify trustee preferences, administering their fiduciary duty. Salil will go through this later in the agenda. We are going to be asking for increased authority to the executive committee. The executive committee was formed at the end of the de Blasio administration because we were concerned about gaps in governance. We're proposing some additional authorities to support contract approvals, among other modifications, and you'll hear about that. The fiscal 2026 budget, that will come up on the agenda, but we're going to ask if anyone has questions. So the fiscal 2026 budget was presented in May at a May board meeting. We have had some pushback from OMB and the controller on the number of headcount we're getting. Just for anyone who hasn't, this is a one sentence summary of a rather complicated budget, which we have shared both the video of the presentation that Daniel and Chitra made and memos on that and the details of the budget. But what we proposed in May is as a result of an 82% increase in active membership resulting from the November 2024 implementation of New York State allowed auto enrollment for our system. That's an 82% increase in active membership. We requested in the fiscal 2026 budget a 42% increase in headcount and a 33% increase in dollars spent in fiscal 2026. I say that one additional thing. Adding 70 headcount, 42% is very significant. It wouldn't occur in 1 year, or it would likely be stretched over 2 years. So the chances are that our cash cost of the budget for fiscal 2026 would come well under the 33% increase. Let me say that we're still in conversations with OMB. The chairs of the board and our fiscal operations folks and Daniel Miller and I will be involved in those conversations in the next few days. We hope to approve the budget at the December board meeting, which remind me, Karen, is the 12th or the 11th? 12th, thank you. And
sorry, the 11th.
when we get to that,
I'm
when we
sorry,
get
so
to that portion of the
11th.
agenda, yeah, when we get to that portion of the agenda, it'll be an opportunity for anyone to ask any questions because it could change significantly over the next few days and we won't vote on it till December. You know, we'd probably like to avoid a detailed review of the budget. But if anyone has questions when we get to that item, when Corinne gets to that item in the agenda, we will entertain those. There's a significant contract we're asking the board to approve. It's for identification, confirmation, and verification services to support our member self-service systems. You know, this is a software that actually the federal government uses for Social Security and for tax verification of identity. It's called ID.me. We're contracting with them. It APIs directly into our systems that are supplied by Vitek, and it will help us regulate the transactions so that we don't have false individuals executing transactions. For those who were on the board, is anyone here on the board when we had our incident? There was an incident in 2021, where we had someone who represented themselves as a retiree. He and his accomplice got access to Social Security numbers, names, and identities of our retirees, and they stole $1.2 million from the system. New York City backstopped that, and I can tell you that we cooperated with the FBI and the local police. They caught them. One's already in jail. The other one is being prosecuted, and we may get some recovery in addition to the recovery we got earlier. So, but we have restricted access to people who actually physically showed up and presented themselves so we can identify them. This will help us get around that limitation and facilitate member services being a little bit more member friendly. Sorry, that was a little bit too much on ID.me, but I think that's important. Also, there was a distribution from our internal audits director, Aday. Aday distributed the Department of Financial Services audit report for Board of Ed Retirement System. They have asked that trustees review this report and sign off and acknowledge that they have reviewed it. This is a long document. I would suggest you begin with management's response to the report. There's a good summary of the report. There's a good summary of the recommendations, and there's a good summary of our responses. I would tell you that DFS was not particularly critical of BERS. Matter of fact, they held us up as one of the more advanced systems in the city because we do our own asset liability cash flow analysis that Salil Mehta does for us. I think that's enough for me. I would just finish my report with the suggestion that there are opportunities for trustee education that I would like you to consider. The National Association of Securities Professionals New York chapter has a cocktail reception on November 20th and an all-day conference on 11/21. Actually, I put together a private credit panel, and that's an opportunity to make sure that I don't say anything dopey. Corey Ed Plan Sponsor Education Institute is January 20 to 23. NYCBERS Legislative Conference, January 26 to 28. Communications and Member Service Summit by NYCBERS, March 2 through 4th. and NCBERS, nationally accredited fiduciary and trustee educational seminars, and their annual conference is in May, from May 16th to 20th. I rapidly went through that. We share all the information about these conferences. The best person to know about how to access these conferences and how to register is Karen. So, you know, we regularly distribute emails about these opportunities, and we will continue to do so. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or call Karen. And recall that the system will pay all expenses related to attendance of these conferences and pick up the cost of conference. And, you know, we want to make available to you all education resources that you need to make decisions about your $10 billion fiduciary responsibility. And that's enough for me, Karen. Corinne. Sorry.
Sandy, I got one question.
Yes, Mr. Dorso.
Just a simple one. On the DFS, I know we have to sign that we're in receipt of it. In the event, for some reason, snow or something else, we don't have a December meeting, can we do it electronically just to make sure? I thought we had to do it by the end of the year, but if there's no timeline, then forget my question. But,
There is no time.
oh, okay, then I withdraw the question.
And it's not an institutional receipt, it's an individual trustee.
Yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I was just wondering how you want.
We acknowledge receipt of it as an institution.
It's not just receipt, it's that you read it as well.
Yes, yeah.
Noted.
Mr. Giordano.
Standing on the same subject, just, and we'll be hearing from the city actuary, I think later on. But the city actuary had some issues with the DFS report, just from an actuarial standpoint, that was brought to our attention during the executive committee meeting. So for all the new members, just maybe offline or something, we could have a discussion about that. But the actuary had issues with some of the actuarial assumptions that were made in the DFS report. Significant issues with their process and their understanding of how he does his work here in the city. And so just want to bring that up since the actuary is actually.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Tony.
I had a question, a quick question.
Please.
Sandy, how do you think the identifying program will impact the numbers? And congratulations. I mean, you said there was a what,
82% increase in active
Increase.
membership as of November last year.
That's major. I'm just
Yep.
interested. How do you think that identification factor will impact that?
It'll
just
take
curious.
pressure off our counseling staff, because since 2021, we stopped people being able to sign up for member self-service online without presenting themselves physically at our counseling office. So this will help members facilitate their enrollment in the full capacity of our system and take pressure off the counselors, because you won't have to show up in person anymore. So it takes pressure off our counselors, and hopefully it'll support more people opening up their member self-service accounts and migrating what's left of our paper process to the systems alone. We have been for the last 10 years working to squeeze out every piece of paper in the process we can, and gotten a lot of it out. But, you know, until we get that fully active and, to be honest, get the less computer entertained individuals retired, you know, it'll take some time.
Are you looking at the rollout? Like what?
There'll be educational, I mean, it'll take us a few months to get that active. I suspect we'll have educational rollouts from the call center, member outreach coming up in probably January. I mean, I actually don't know when they'll start the implementation. I know I signed the contract when you vote for it. So that'll kick off the whole thing, and then we'll schedule the onboarding of the system.
I really would like for you to just take like very much so here in this manner. Because it wasn't too long ago that people were weaponizing the fact that a lot of Black and brown people did not have computers, and they were expecting people to make decisions who had computers. Like, it is very, very important that you act with care in this piece, because these old folks, these OGs, they're not interested in all of that. So I really hope that you're able to, you know,
We will always entertain individuals who show up in counseling and want to get registered, always,
Alright.
always.
Service center, are we still leasing out space?
The lease is in final negotiations with the law department. The plan is to move our counseling center from 65 Court Street in Brooklyn to the first floor here. And that's in process. That's in process. We have till June 2026 to finalize that lease agreement.
New trustee office.
Thank you, Sandy. The next item on this afternoon's agenda are calendar items 2 through 17, the ordinary business of BERS. May I have a motion to consider? Okay, hold on. Okay, that's way too many people.
I'll second.
Okay, Tony?
I defer.
Okay. Sharon, please tell us about the ordinary business of BERS.
These are the retirements, refunds, and death benefits processed since the last time the board met.
Thank you, Sharon. We will now vote on these items. All in favor of approving calendar items 2 through 17, please respond in favor.
In favor.
Favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 18, adoption of the actuary's recommendation regarding, tier 3, 4, and 6, loan insurance premium rate for fiscal year 2026. May I have a motion to consider? Okay, if you're gonna respond, please say your
Oh, I'm
name,
sorry, John Dorsa. Yeah.
please. Okay, can I have a second?
Anita Garcia, second.
Thank you. Somebody's tracking this down, right? Thank you. So what's going on here? Lost my place. All right,
Item four. Item four.
New York City Office of Actuary and Chief Actuary Marek. Marek is here to present this agenda item.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, trustees. My name is Mark Tiskevich. I'm the Chief Actuary for the 5 systems. This board item in front of you is for the insurance of charged members for based on their outstanding loans of member contributions in case of an active member's death. This amount is currently 0.2% of the outstanding balance. It's been as high as 0.5%. Our analysis shows that 0.2% is still a reasonable amount to charge using the most recent mortality tables and the demographics of the group taking the loans. So my recommendation, which is reflected in the memos in the memo in your board packet, and the proposed resolution, is to keep the premium at 0.2% for this current fiscal year, which already started last July. So happy to answer any questions, and if not, ask the board to adopt our proposed resolution.
Any questions? Thank you, Marek. Appreciate it. Now vote on this item. All in favor of approving calendar item 18, please respond in favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 19, adoption of the Disability Committee's recommendations. May I have a motion to consider?
Margie. Angela Green.
Second?
No.
Second, Marjorie, second, okay.
Meeting of the Disability Committee held on September 30th, 2025. The committee reviewed 19 recommendation reports and issued recommendation reports for 19 cases.
Thank you, Dallas. We will now vote on the items. All in favor of approving calendar item 19, please respond in favor. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Okay, and just, that's all, only first time that's been mentioned. Okay, for the record, want to make sure that Farajian Jones has entered the room. Somebody else that came in.
Shirley.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right.
And
And Anita.
Shirley and Anita. I was gonna say, I knew there was a few more people. I'm like, I knew there was- Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
I suggest since we have a lot of new people here I mean, we've flown through a couple of these things pretty quickly and maybe just even if just a sentence from Sandy on some of these items that we've flown through, like
Which ones?
like the operational item, and we kind of moved quickly, and I think everyone's just kind of raising their hand real quick because.
Sure.
Right.
So, but,
I mean, they're nothing big, they're regular operational
yeah,
business.
the operational approvals that you were, railroaded through were basically the retirements we have issued and confirmed since the last board meeting. Trustees have to approve all those distributions because they're being taken from the fund. So that's, and disabilities, you have final authority on those disabilities. Our disability committee only reviews those that have not been approved. But that is what Dallas was working on. What else did we approve?
I would just say one thing, Sandy. Again, there is committees that are reviewing and going through these things before it comes to the full board. And if there is ever any concern and or questions, that'll be raised by the committee. So it's not that you have it it's just being pushed through. There is discussion with a smaller committee that oversees it and is responsible for making those decisions before it is brought to the full board.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Camille Casaretti. I just want to confirm, and I feel like we had this conversation before, that the distribution of funds that we just voted on actually is not delayed because we haven't been together since May, right? Right, okay.
We don't want that kind of backlash.
Right.
Sandy, maybe just or even Marek, just maybe an explanation of what the actuarial.
Sure,
Motion.
so Merrick just left,
Did he?
but what you approved is a fee that we lay on top of the cost of the loan. So one of the largest businesses we have and one of the largest pressures on our operations over the next 5 years is the fact that new members, remember there's 82% more of them, after 1 year can borrow against balances that they've contributed to their defined benefit or to the defined contribution sidecar investment opportunity in our TDA. We have, I think Josias is on the phone. Josias, are you there? You there? I can't make him out.
He's there.
Yeah, he's.
Yes.
Josias,
Yes, I am
if
here.
you're there, would you summarize for the board the size of the loan program and what your predictions are for the next few years?
Currently, the loans portfolio is just under 15,000 loans. I believe it's a little over $74 million. We expect for that to gradually increase over the next 5 years and to get close to 20,000 loans.
And so trustees, you understand that Josias and his team in operations has done a great job over the last 8 years cleaning up a historically badly managed loan program. We're basically now on top of managing it, but we are, if you think about BERS, we are a consumer facing financial institution with everything but credit cards and demand deposits, the two cheapest things or most profitable things a bank does. So we've got all the work burden, none of the revenues. Yeah, because we have loans, we're processing loans, maintaining loans. We have investment programs, both defined contribution, defined benefit, retirements, disabilities. It's a lot. So thank you for the question, by the way. It's an opportunity for me to blow the horn for our operations folks. They've done a great job.
Before we go into the flow, so we could go right into it, the minutes. I know that me and Mariella were on virtually, we're not on as a parents. And I know I voted, so, but you don't have me and Mariella on as attending the May 13th meeting.
Maybe.
Motion to amend the minute, motion to amend the minutes. Motion to amend the minutes to include Marielle and Shirley Albin into the last month's meeting.
Let me
Second.
hold on.
Got a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Can you please make the necessary amendments to the minutes? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 20, authorization to the controller of the city of New York to invest, sell, and exchange the funds of the retirement system. May I have a motion to consider?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Shirley Auburn.
Second, thank you.
Somebody explain what this
I'm
is.
gonna
You tell me.
Can't gather me with my.
BERS Pension Risk and Innovation Director Salil is here to present this item.
Can't hear you, Salil.
You're on mute. Use your outside voice.
No,
You're still on mute.
We heard him
he's not on mute, it's just his mic's not working.
We heard him before, so.
There's something on our side, Karen? Well,
I heard him a little bit.
We heard him.
Turn the volume
Turn your
up,
volume
Salil.
up.
I know.
Blink if you've been kidnapped.
No, so I can jump in on this, Salil. So we operate with 3 consultants. Makita is our ultimate consultant, Siegel Marco is our generalist consultant, and the Bureau of Asset Management is our internal consultant. The Bureau of Asset Management is a component of the New York City Controller's Office. The New York City Controller is the statutory custodian for the funds of all the systems, all 5 systems. We are one of those 5 systems. They handle execution of what trustees decide in terms of allocation to asset managers, transfer of assets, execution of money distributions, and payment of our expenses. And we delegate authority to the controller to make these transactions so that trustees are not burdened by individual transaction responsibilities. So as custodian, they can execute.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I'm here in the capacity as the controller, as an elected official and a statutory member of this court, not as the Bureau of Asset Management. So we wear a lot of hats, so I just want to make that clear. I don't represent the Bureau of Asset Management, I represent the controller here. The folks online are the Bureau of Asset Management folks, so.
Can you
if
hear
that-
me, by the way?
New, that's
There
kind
you
of
go.
the way to.
You're back.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Let's have more items.
I think we're good with the controllers stuff.
Okay, yeah, it's basically, it's a quarterly authorization, and we're doing 2 quarters worth right now because we missed the last quarter due to quorum at the Board of Trustee meeting. And this resolution will go through the end of this year, December 31, 2025, and we recommend approval of this resolution.
Thank you, Salil, Sandy, and John. We will now vote on this item. All in favor of approving calendar item 20, please respond in favor. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go there.
Trust the general counsel over me.
You had a question?
At times, I see Chairman of at times when we have loggerheads with the controller's office, there's been discussion of not approving this. I don't think at this time there's anything pending that would warrant that, but it's always, and each board, each of the 5 boards actually has different intervals for where they make the same approval. But I think we are quarterly, right? So we're quarterly, right?
Well, we aim to be quarterly, yeah.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We will now vote on this item. All in favor of approving calendar item 20, please respond in favor. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 21, adoption of an amendment to the investment policy statement of the Board of Education Retirement Systems. May I have a motion to consider?
Shirley Auburn.
Second, Shirley, can I have a second?
Second, Tony.
Second, Tony, all right. So Leo, can you present this item?
Sure. So what Sandy had mentioned before is I sent an email to everyone basically concerning a broader set of changes to the IPS. It's a multi-year set of changes, and that's not exactly what we're going to cover today. I mean, that's going to be discussed at the executive committee meeting on December 2, and that covers things like the addition of cash as an asset class explicitly, in-house use of liability risk modeling, ESG changes, ETFs, and also the reduction in the minimum. But for today, what we wanted to do as a quick fix due to challenges in getting some items through the Board of Trustee meeting is just to make a very tactical change, excuse me, to the IPS, where one of the responsibilities for the executive committee would be to approve new public market managers or programs up to 350 million, up from 250 million. So that's a 40% increase roughly. That's commensurate with the 40% increase in the underlying asset size of BERS over the last several years since the last approved IPS. So that's the one specific change we wanted to implement inside of the IPS document.
So can I just, a couple of things. One is, so just to give some context behind this, we require the full board to approve investments, and this giving the executive committee an increased dollar amount will ensure that if we don't meet quorum, where the executive committee can vote at a larger dollar amount so we don't miss investment opportunities. So that since we haven't met since May, had the executive committee not had the authority to vote on investments, it means at a certain dollar amount, we wouldn't have been able to make investment decisions until we were able to get quorum. I think it is a proposed change because there have been investment opportunities in the public markets that we were not able to vote on because our amount limitation is up to 250 million in the public market. If we increase to 350, it ensures we're not missing any opportunities before we're able to get a full quorum of the full board. Any investments that are approved and made will be shared in writing and at the next at the next full board meeting. So you're not giving away any power and there will be full transparency. Want to make sure I said that.
And
Any,
I got a question.
okay.
So let's say for some reason, the at-large board doesn't agree with that initial investment, does it get overturned?
No, it does not.
See, so that, so that is to consider.
We'll come back
Yeah.
to that also.
Yeah, I originally made the suggestion because of the fact that, we've been having difficulty getting quorum. But to your point, is there a system that you have to first at least attempt to have quorum? In other words, I don't want it to be a system that we use this to internally bypass the board and go directly to the executive committee. That
I think I would say, and I'm gonna ask Sandy to chime in on operations and Sharon, but I would say, as I understand it, it's the regular meetings will continue to be scheduled. The regular meetings will continue to, as you know, we can't have a meeting unless we have quorum because we can't vote on anything. I think that there has to be a balance on the risk of missing an opportunity and delaying and or slowing down our ability to make investments. I think also, I want to be able to say that when we think about these smaller executive committee, these are members that have been voted upon by you, right, to represent you in the bigger context of the board. And so the executive committee meets regularly. It's not often we don't have quorum. I don't think we've not had quorum because there's, a real accountability. And so that's something to be considered. But as far as once a decision has been made, while it will be shared, it will not be overturned to say that we've decided against it.
I agree with all that. I just don't want to see it as a mechanism that bypasses the board, that we first make the attempt to have a board meeting and that this is an emergency power. If the board doesn't meet quorum, if we don't make quorum, then that could be delegated to the executive board to make that investment.
I hear what you're saying, Greg, but I'm not sure that it is a flexibility like that. I think the biggest answer I can say, and Sharon, please chime in, is that there will always be an attempt to have a full board meeting. And I think what I've seen happen is that if there is an urgent situation where there's time expiring or an opportunity could be lost, then it is brought to the executive committee to make that decision. Is that right, Sharon?
That would be what Greg is suggesting. If the board wants, we could work that in, but that would be a different resolution than what's in front of the board now. Also note that any trustee is welcome to attend any committee meeting, whether it's executive, audit, disability, they won't get a vote, but they can speak and voice concerns. In terms of overturning a vote, I think we'd want to discuss that with the law department, because the board has delegated certain authorities to the executive committee. They can, reverse that and take those authorities back.
Well, so if the action hasn't happened, like if you voted to do something that would take effect in 6 months, in 5 months, and you haven't carried out the action, I would assume the board, if they met in between that time, could reverse that action.
I thought we were all a reflection of the board. I don't think I would have ever been on the executive board if I wasn't a reflection,
You were voted on, right?
right, of the body.
And
Just,
just,
we might not be, we're not gonna be here always. It might be different people and there might be a different situation, and we have to be mindful of that.
1 second, we have another question up here. Go ahead.
I guess I just had some concerns about why this big jump from 250 to 350, because that feels significant to me. And then I'd also like to see some data on what opportunities were lost between May and now. And that just speaks to the communication between you all and us about, we don't have quorum, we're now losing $50 million because you're not here to vote. Like, I think those actual details might light some fires and, like, in my mind, I'd prefer to keep it here because then we're supposed to be here, right? We're not supposed to not be here.
And practice, and it's actually, I think we have more justification about the lack of quorum because we haven't met since May. And so I think we also have to take into consideration the business of the board, right? That has to continue to happen. And we can't effectively say because we don't have quorum, we can't handle the business of the board, right? And so I think that's the tension of understanding, regardless whether it's this board or another board, I think we have to make accommodations to be able to address the business of the board. Now, your question about when and what cycles that there may be a disruption, that's something we'd have to get from either you and or Salil to address that, but I know there's been several times that things have been brought to the board and we couldn't make a decision because it was just, so it went from 250 to 350, but we have authority up to 250. If it was something that was 260, we couldn't vote on it. So that range is not necessarily going from 250 to 350, it's that range between that 250 and 350.
and there are
That
actually
on the public markets.
two reasons. One, if you just adjust that approval level, because that was created in October at the end of the de Blasio administration, which is 5 years ago, and our fund is up 30%, so, or more. I mean, Salil, correct me if I'm.
Yeah, it was approved in 2021. The asset size has grown 40%, and a 40% increase from 250 is a roughly 350. If we did a percentage of assets and use that rule, it'd be very tricky to how you calculate it. And so forth. So we just put a dollar amount to sort of reflect the step up in assets over that time. And one small thing about the reverse is sometimes if there are investments that have come to the executive committee, I've seen more cases that are actually favorable where if they're not actually sure if they're borderline, they've actually decided to have it just go to the straight board of trustees for everyone to consider, so that they're generally voting on things that are, for the most part, clear and get regular, updates back to the board.
So the other item,
Hold on a second, John.
just a second, John. The other item is 350 million was chosen because we had a restructuring of our public equity exposure in the United States proposed by Salil, our consultant Siegel, worked through with BAM. And I believe that was resolved 7 months ago and we haven't been able to implement it because of the inability to have a board meeting. And I'm quoting Siegel Marco at the last executive committee, this has cost you money. I mean, we can probably do a calculation as to find out what it did cost us, but according to our outside consultant who helped craft this change, she said it cost us money.
So.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the 350 number. My question is, Sharon, this is really for you. Is there a way, if they furnished, if the agenda gets furnished for the executive committee and say 5 trustees, not a quorum, five trustees of the 28, reach out to the executive committee and say, we have a concern about X investment. We would request that it go to the full board, that the executive committee by extension would honor that request of 5 trustees, because there's 5 people on the executive committee, right? There's 5 people on the executive. If 5 other people can at least say, voice their concern, it'll automatically bring it to the full board. Because
like that idea.
I just think that that's a fair way of, and Greg, there's been times where you've deferred things to the full board. So it's not like you're trying to be parochial and just do it at the executive committee, but I think that that's a way, and look, I have issues, obviously, as I've expressed about the executive committee, but I think that this is a way to bridge that, and give people a voice, and I think that's what we're all about, so.
Quorum, and I'm agreeing with
Our
John.
consultant is represented here. I see Vanessa, your
Hi, Vanessa.
smiling face, if you want to add something to what I said.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's been delays in certain searches decisions of time, and why, the latest one, the performance has gone on the negative side. There could be times where performance gets better, but that's always an unknown. But as when we complete a search and it takes already a search completion a long time, and then we bring it to the board and we're unable to act in terms of a decision because of quorum, that could have implications for performance for the fund itself. And so that was the idea behind increasing the dollar amount in the investment policy statement.
So let me understand, if we have an executive board meeting, full board scheduled for October, and we have an executive committee meeting scheduled for October, mid-October. So we have October meeting, regular board. We have a investment, smaller board meeting scheduled for the 15th, and you have an investment. Are you gonna go first to bring it to the full board, or are you gonna wait to bring it to the executive board?
Generally, it would,
Never wait to bring it to executive.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say is that,
Yeah.
will we
You first try to bring it
bypass?
to the- No, it's not about bypassing, but I think it's timing, right?
Yeah.
As I understand, what I've seen happen is we bring something to the full board. If we don't have full board, we have the authority from the executive committee. But every opportunity we have, because the full board meetings are scheduled monthly, just like the executive board. So it's not about bypassing. It's about saying, yes, we want to bring this to the full board always first. And in the event we don't have quorum and we need to get something done, it can go to the executive.
See, that's what I'm asking for.
Yes, yes.
But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way, right?
So, do
Well,
you
the-
want to
the
speak to
executive-
how this has worked
yeah,
historically?
the executive committee is designed to time itself in the month around when the investment committees happen with the comptroller and BAM. So we get the due diligence packets, we get our packets and investments together, and it's also timed very tightly around when the investments expire before there's fees. The Board of Trustee meetings are timed anywhere in the month that you guys get quorum, and they can actually happen predating when the investment materials are ready or after an investment actually expires or you incur fees. And so the timings, even though they both happen on a monthly schedule, the executive committee really has a cadence that it does actually happen. We don't have quorum issues, and it does happen so that the actual investments do function and get passed properly.
Let's just discuss 1 second.
I saw a flash up of a chat comment. Karen, was there
Is there someone in the
just
chat?
check chat or? questions?
Yes.
I thought I
No,
saw
no,
something flash up.
There's no chats about this. Well, Rima, do you want to speak about this?
Rima?
Yeah, we trustee.
Hi. Yep. Hi. And I'm trying to turn my camera on, but like it's not giving me access. I'm gonna try. All right. Well, if it doesn't work, you can hear me. Oh, there we go. So I agree with Greg and just the sentiment of not completely bypassing the board, but having an attempt to try to get the board. We haven't tried to change the time of the meetings or the days that we meet. And I know that there's some staff that need to be there. And I know all of the things because I've had the conversations. But a lot of us do have children, a lot of people work, and 4 o'clock is not the easiest time. So I just think that there are other concessions that we could be making before approving an extra large amount of money for the executive board to make decisions that do bypass the entire board if you're just coming back and reporting on it the next month and still having already done it. So I do think that we should be exploring other concessions before just cutting the board out, particularly since there are new trustees.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. Yeah, look, I support this. I think this is a necessary change. I just think we need to build in protections so we don't completely disempower the board. And so I think that, your suggestion of that if 5 people on the board, full board say, we want this full investment to come to the full board, that's a protection for me for the full board. If it's just documented.
Let's establish criteria though.
Yeah.
If we say, I'm not opposed to, and this is a different proposal, just a discussion. We wanted to go to the full board.
Yeah.
5 people raise a concern.
Yeah.
If we don't get quorum for 5 months, which has been known to happen, how do we address that?
Then it goes to the executive board.
So,
So we have to put some timelines on.
Yeah, I mean, it just needs to be a process. The executive board is basically has an emergency power.
Yeah.
These emergency powers kick in when we're not able to gain quorum. So we made the attempt to go to, because what I'm afraid will happen is you basically, what would be the need for the full board? If the executive board, if you're regularly just going to the easier body, then there's really no need. It almost disempowers the full board. I think that would be.
That was the spirit of the proposal to create the executive committee. It was only there because we were concerned the full board could not be accessed to make timely decisions. So if we put in some kind of a timely decision trigger that gives the authority to the executive committee.
I want to make sure we address the fiduciary responsibilities as well, right? What I heard Vanessa say is that we run the risk of, in times where we're not meeting quorum, and this past year, we've had a full board meeting 3 times, right? Out of 12, right? So that's not a good percentage. I think we are all here. Primary responsibility is a fiduciary responsibility. And that cannot happen if we're not meeting quorum. So I guess, again, what I want to make sure is I hear what Vanessa is saying in that we are potentially risking the loss of revenue with an inability to be able to vote. And I think we have to also consider the executive committee is not just imposed upon the board is voting for the executive committee. And so I believe there should be some level of, and it's not going to always be the same executive committee. So I just want to highlight that as well. Some level of trust and the decisions being made, because we know, number one, these people will show up and be there on a monthly basis. Number 2, they'll do the necessary due diligence. And then number 3, they will be sure to represent the board as best as possible. And so I think, again, the fiduciary piece of it for me is of concern when we have our consultants saying we are potentially at risk of losing dollars for lack of timing of making of decisions. Yes, Tony.
So, I mean, I support this, I'm on the executive committee, but there is no pension board in the world that has 28 people on the board. So, and on all the other boards, everybody else in the room is paid. We are the only unpaid people. So we are the odd duck in this group. And so I'm not casting aspersions on anybody for not showing up or having difficulty getting here or being parents. But there's a fiduciary responsibility that we have that many of us, at least in the past, didn't even know they were on a pension board when they signed on to be a member.
But the 2 things can happen.
Yeah.
Normally the people who are in the executive board will come out for a full, there are days when we didn't have a quorum for the full board, but the executive committee was here. So we attempted to bring it to the full board. We didn't get quorum. most of us on the executive committee are gonna be there anyway. You simply delegate it, that would be the authorization to delegate it to the
So,
executive.
with that, I'm gonna make the amendment, I'm gonna make a motion to make an amendment to the resolution that we include two things, that we, first and foremost, the agenda for executive committee needs to go to every member, right? Because there's no, that's the first thing. Everybody has to know what's on the agenda to be able to make a decision. And taking John's suggestion that if 5 members of the board raise a question about an investment and want it moved to the full board, that'll be moved. So those two things are.
And at what point do we say the full board hasn't met in 6 months and what do we?
I think it has to be the next meeting.
But it would come to a full board meeting where most of the executive board will be there.
And the executive. board can
But they
take-
can't vote on it because you don't have quorum.
No, but the executive committee, the smaller body, are people who are part of the larger body, and they'll be at that same meeting.
Yes, I understand that, but you still cannot vote on it if you don't have quorum. And typically, if we don't, well, one second, hold on a second. If we don't have quorum, we cancel the board meetings.
And we then convene an executive committee meeting, right?
So you're saying, first try to get quorum. If you don't get quorum, then
You
we
convene
can
an
make,
executive committee.
and then the executive committee, you make a
Exactly.
decision.
Just because you're stumbling into OML now, and I will be corrected by my general counsel if I'm being dopey, but
Meetings have to be
noticed,
announced
announced, public.
for executive committee with an agenda, all of that.
So announce them.
Ultimately, we.
So announce them.
We do.
End up
We
canceling
do, yeah.
meetings in advance. It's very rare that we bring everyone here and then we don't have quorum. And then it just happened. I think that happened once, that the executive committee is already here. Usually like we'll cancel in the morning or a day or two before.
So we couldn't make it work where we had a full board meeting scheduled. We didn't make quorum. And we announced that there may be a brief executive committee meeting at the same, happening. Why couldn't it go in the same announcement? That
Couldn't suffice that we just have the meeting, as long as everyone knows what's on the agenda. Then let's let it go as it is, and if anyone has any objection, then we can move it to the full board, go the other way with it.
So Tony, every trustee, even the ones who don't show up, get a executive committee agenda
Currently not.
and packet.
Okay,
Yeah,
currently
one
not.
season, just like the board meeting packet. It's Salil and his team put together that package.
You just get the
It's
executive.
sent to everyone and it's also put on SharePoint.
Yeah.
We have to share it with everybody.
I'm trying to protect the
And
rights
so
of
we
members.
still
Neil.
also still need to have real transparent conversation. This is where we need to find ways to engage with the board and to make, and in all fairness, to be able to create dialogue that actually makes sense in some cases. We're not all financial, and I think at times there can be a game on about like who knows what, and if you don't know, sucks for you. And so we have to do a better job with creating those connections. We are on a board, and we represent Black and brown people who historically have not had a voice, who I have been advocating with numerous people on this board that we need to have more Black and brown people in finance. We need to make sure that it is so natural that a child of a crossing guard or a lunch worker is so natural to say, I think I'm going to take this financial internship at blah, 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 firm or what have you. But the fact that he, she, they are actually, their interest is piqued in that information, we're still at the beginning stages of that. Spire has some things that are absolutely amazing. So these fiduciary trainings that we have, it is very telling, because Fire has investments that complement what they're doing. And Fire has an investment, it's so tight, the brotherhood. I'm taking brotherhood notes, right? because they have investments that support the retirees after. If there's, if firemen and firewomen are exposed to certain illnesses that we will never be exposed to due to their line of work, then it is natural for them to invest in the companies that do preventative care. It is hyper specific what they have to do. And it is very much so understood that their investments are impacting what it is that that support the work that they're in to take care of their retirees and make sure they're all not dying the first few years of their retirement. It is fascinating when you look at other boards and how they operate. And I would love for the fact that we actually begin to eye investments that really speak to Black and brown children and really speak to the betterment of the communities that their parents are currently working and being paid on extremely lowest paid workers, the lowest paid workers. How low? Very low paid. And we don't need another generation of low income earners coming from the set. We need to break that up. So that's what I think about on this board and the urgency of, I want it to just be normalized is what I'm saying. Fire hazard in the back. This is what we invest in. Why? Because they invest in us when we're done working. I would love, hey, these are investments that we have. Why? Because they invest in us when we're done. I would love that. So I'm just saying, my driving factors and why we need to create the connection that speaks to the members that we represent in real time, because these are our people. These are our people. And we need to just, do a better job in creating that connection and closing some of those gaps.
We missed the PE trade in the Black-owned firm in June. There's two real estate firms, that were Black woman-owned firms that weren't brought to because we didn't have quorum and those stuff. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's important. I hear exactly what you're saying. I think it's also important to acknowledge and recognize we have an unmanageable number of people on a board with an expectation of monthly attendance. It's not realistic. Even my being here on a monthly basis, right? While this is part of my job, but this consumes over 30% of my job, right? And again, it's not an indictment on anybody. It is just the reality that we have to address that this increase happened over just like that. And to your point, a lot of people don't even know that they're supposed to be on this board. A lot of people, not that they don't care, but if they don't understand what they're doing and what is required of them. So I think it's important for us as we sit here as a board, to your point around, we are working on behalf of low-paid employees, and there needs to be an accountability and a responsibility for this board. And it may not need to be 28 people. Hence, the need for an executive committee that you vote for. Hence, we need to be discussing, should we be making a organizational, operational change that says there's 28 people, but guess what? There's always 5 to 10 people that want no part of it. That's their right to say, I'm gonna bow out. This is not what I do
Different
well.
motion.
But I'm making the point,
Law.
right?
That's
I understand that.
State law.
Yes, I understand that. So if we want to make but I'm making the point that this has not worked. That's the reality. To say we've missed investments, to say we risk not making dollars, to say we met in May, it is now December. And somebody just asked the question, if
Any
we don't
investments
meet,
have we missed since May?
hold on a second, if we don't meet, does that mean retirees and disability, they don't get paid? There's a timeliness that is required from us as a board, right? Whether I'm on the board or not, whether I'm the chair or not. Like, I'm a BERS member. Imagine if I'm waiting for my retirement and I can't get it because the board didn't meet. Again, it's not an indictment on any one individual. The reality is we have a large board, and we, as the large board, need to come to some consensus on what we can do and make the proper recommendation, whether it's legislation change or whatever, to be able to say, we now have a trusted group, or we decided that we need to have everybody and say that we can do meetings, whether it's quarterly, whatever it is we have to do, we need to do something.
Can we do that in real time? Like, what is fire's numbers? What
They
do
only
they,
have like 6 or 8 people on their board.
and how about police?
Same thing.
Teachers
That's not
7 people.
possible.
Teachers 7 people. Teachers 7.
Can I answer your question? Tony had made a proposal quite a
Wow.
while ago about what we needed to do and how we needed to put together a smaller group
Correct.
and have that be. Can we do that?
It's a PEP vote. So PEP is, PEP by state law, PEP makes the decision on what BERS looks like. So as PEP, we can at PEP make it, and there's a couple proposals even for that outstanding to make this an 11-person board and have alternates for every one of those members so that we could have, a more normalized board in terms of actual people.
But it has to go to teachers. But that decision has to go before the.
Ratified by
Right.
teachers after the fact.
How many people
Ratified
on
by
Anybody would,
teachers?
and I don't think anybody would dispute that if it is about getting the business of the board
Okay,
done.
but let me just finish. Okay, so can we do that? Or can we do what you had proposed about the executive board being the member, being the voting body as well?
I think we could have both. I don't think both, and we could work as PEP to get a new, more manageable board overall for the
Right.
future, not for us, for the future.
Yes.
But on exec, it's this, I think we need to make this, I think
We
we
can
need to move
talk
this now.
about it and keep talking about it. But let's
Yeah, do
can we
something.
get it done? Get it done right now.
All right, can we just, okay, let's get back to the motion at hand, please. One
Just
question,
wanna,
Greg?
yeah, I just want to incorporate John's suggestion that there be a 5.
At least 5. I mean, at least, it could be 7.
Is
I mean,
fine. That would trigger an action going before the full board.
Let me
That's
just raise this
built
for
in.
a second. What I want to make sure that we don't do is we don't shoot ourselves in the foot before we get started. If we have the same 5 people, I'm making it up, raise an objection each time and still never show up, then what?
Then it goes to the executive board for a decision.
So,
Is that
can we make that
in addition
amendment to the
to?
resolution? Can you work out the wording for that?
Also, I mean, with regard to the 5 members, this hasn't been formalized, but my understanding is historically when I think it was even 1 or 2 members of the board have expressed concerns, it has come to the full board. So by requiring 5 members, you may be limiting
Taking away
yourself.
Can we
Yeah,
just
you might
decrease
consider
the amount of
making it
people
far
on board?
easier. So if one member objects, then it goes to full board?
On this board?
I'm thinking 5. I mean, I don't. see why we
All the members from past.
What you're saying is if there's not 5 objections, the 2 will be.
We're all de
Or
facto
the 3
members.
will be considered.
We're all de
So that's
facto.
why
Making it
we-
more complicated. It's just, all I'm looking is to
Not
build
that
in a
we chose.
protection
It's automatic.
that it would,
Because
that we're
nobody
not
would-
bypassing the
wants to be
board.
on it.
And I think, is there anything in the rules that say that we can't make it 5? You're saying what it used to traditionally is there something in the law that says that we could not?
We're making
So
it
then
more
why do you,
strict.
I mean, like, if we're allowed to say 5 people would trigger an objection, that's fine.
Okay.
Because I mean, I don't,
I'm gonna be devil's advocate because that means my individual voice, I'm just using me as an example, doesn't matter if I object. That's why she's going, if we do have to have 5, then that my single voice doesn't matter. That's what you're saying when you say we have to have 5. That's what she's trying to bring out.
Okay, so then you would have a representative from each of the constituents. So, there would be a mayoral appointee, a parent, appointee.
Let's respond to this 1 second. That's true, but if you came in and voted, and you were 1 vote,
No,
you
I
would
understand that.
lose the vote anyway.
She's saying though,
Yeah.
but because I may have an objection, I'm just gonna go, oh, let's say, I'm gonna use you, Margie. Margie came up with an objection and her point is valid and I didn't consider it. Then I'm like, oh, maybe she has a point. If we don't hear everybody's objection, then it might change other people's mind for or against. That's what I'm saying. That's what the point of a conversation, and I think that's what Greg is going at. We want to make decisions as a whole, with the majority is on the same page. It should go there first, right? I don't know if the executive board meeting, the executive committee meeting is always after the board meeting, then it's the protection of hearing everybody's voice is there automatically. It's just that history shows you could take shortcuts, we're going to take shortcuts. That's what we're trying to prevent. If you could guarantee that it's going to come to the board first, and for whatever reason, we don't make the decision, then our backup is the executive committee. That isn't not the original intent.
I think that's automatic because the meetings are monthly.
Yeah, but sometimes the executive committee may happen before. Right? Right?
The executive committee is usually the last Tuesday.
Yeah, see, so it could. It depends on when we have our board meeting.
So I'm not great at counting, but I think we only have 16 people in the room, right? So if 2 people are not comfortable moving forward, we wouldn't have enough votes to pass this. So I guess the question is, I'm sure that there, let me just say this, I'm gonna guess there's at least 2 people that are not comfortable moving forward today. So is there any harm in putting this on for the first thing in December to kind of get through? And look, I'm sure there's considerations that people have when they want to talk to their
What happens
principals.
if we don't have a quorum in
Maybe they don't.
December?
I think.
No, I understand, look, I understand your point, but I think the reality is that.
This is the reality. We've missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with
We've missed
tabling it, so let's
opportunities
address this
to-
first. Can we make an amendment to it to address? Can we make an amendment to the proposal to address getting it to the board, ensuring that there's no objections, and solving it in the next meeting? It's not waiting 3 months, it's not waiting 6 months, it is the next executive committee meeting.
Is that for any investment or just those above
Just
250?
the increased ones. The increase from
The
250 to
increase of-
350 on the public investments.
Which may not happen.
It may, but it was an
Right.
issue.
Right.
It has happened. It's not gonna happen a lot.
That would specifically
Yes.
allow us to execute,
Everything up.
wanted to
yeah,
execute
Right,
7 or 8 months ago.
yes.
Well, we're here today, right? And we can.
Why don't we just vote on that proposal, the
So there shouldn't be any
restructuring of our public equity as proposed by Siegel Marco, the Bureau of Asset Management, and our investment.
With an
partner.
amendment that says, go ahead.
So just to be clear, so it would stay as is, plus adding a new line about for up to 350, that's contingent
Between
on
250 and 350, getting it to the full
trying
board.
to have at least one meeting with the full board.
No,
and-
it's not about a meeting. It's about, that's not what I heard. What I heard was notifying the full board and giving them the opportunity to respond. And in the event that they don't respond, we move forward with the investment.
So I just want to say one thing about, and Tony alluded to this. All of the other boards have less people, but also different weighted votes. So not everybody's vote is the actual same. So borough presidents at NYCBERS have a 1/5 vote. The city site representatives have a full vote. The unions have a full vote. It's, at the other systems, depending on the size of the union, they have a half a vote instead of a full vote. Not everybody is created equal. I just want to make, there's less people, but the voting structures are extremely different at each board. Police has 9 people, fire has 11, but everybody has a weighted vote. It's not as simple as just having 10 people in the room. I'm just making that point for folks.
I would also say though, John, the full board votes on the executive committee. And that is the authority that's given to the executive committee and the executive committee members. And so, and that represents the full board. And so the only difference would be, as we're trying to not miss opportunities from that 250 to 350, that we have the ability to go higher with the caveat that it is sent to the full board from 250 to 350, given an opportunity to get the full quorum on the first meeting. If we're not able to do that, if somebody raises a concern, we're not able to do that, then it defaults back to the executive committee.
But I think that structurally, the problem I've always had with the executive committee is, as it stands today, it's majority mayoral appointees. I don't know if Greg is the PEP chair, and I don't know, I don't even know if you're still on the executive committee, but everybody else is a mayoral appointee, so it's
But that
basically.
is the voting.
No, I understand that. My point, though, is that when you take the executive committee, which is only 5 people of a 28-person board, it's the will of those 5 people, and those 5
But
people
those-
all report to the same one person.
But the
So,
will of
like,
the
that's
5 people was voted on the full board, John.
Yeah, but not vote on everything. I understand
That's not
what
true.
you're saying. It makes
The
sense.
employee members on the
But let me
executive
ask
committee as
this
well.
question.
That's not
Daniel,
true,
go
the
ahead,
mayor.
Daniel.
Dennis,
The
Daniel,
2 employee members are also on the executive committee.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yes, I'm
2
sorry.
employee members are also there. They don't
Yeah,
vote for the
employee
mayor.
members on too.
And the other seat is not a mayor appointee, it's a vote of the board itself. So the board decides who's on the committee. That's it.
Yeah, no, I,
And
I
again,
appreciate
it's
that.
not for everything. Keep in mind, we're just saying it's $100,000. $100 million, excuse me, $100 million, right? And so everything would stay the same, right? We've made the decision that there's an executive committee. That executive committee has authority up to 250 million, and on the
Privates.
on a private, it's
50 million.
50 million, right? The edit is the 100 million because of the circumstance that just happened this past year. So it's not about reopening the executive committee authority except for that $100 million, right? And I would say the board has the ability to vote. John, as a appointee of the controller, is potentially a person that could be voted on the executive committee. If he is not, then that doesn't mean that that is the board's will being done. That is the board's will being done.
Or we could just change the structure of what the executive board looks like. But what I want to ask is, and because to Shirley's point, like, like what if she doesn't, agree, it may be her constituency doesn't agree. So, but legally, do we have to follow the open meetings law? Can we make a change in the structure of how we meet? Because when we were in the online
Should
system,
go into
first
attorney
started, we
client.
were in COVID. Say it again.
Should go into attorney client if you're gonna ask legal advice.
I can't even hear what you said.
Attorney client,
because the water fund.
Close the meeting to anyone who's not a board member.
Oh, okay. Because my question is just about the being, if we're online, if we had that ability, we would all be there.
I mean, maybe the law department should opine on whether or not we're gonna violate the OML.
They have opined, but we can
Okay, I mean, no,
discuss
if-
that in attorney client.
Okay, so.
We should move it to, well, we don't even need a vote.
Do we need it?
No, we should kind of go in.
We kick out people, stop the
Yeah,
recording.
we don't have to do
All right,
that.
so can I ask a question? Are we opposed to taking the same proposal, adding in the request that was made to be able to get the full board to at least have visibility before a vote is made? That's what I heard.
Yes.
Is that not right?
Yes, well, we're gonna vote.
So between the 250 and 350, and then are we also doing John's suggestion about the 5? To formalize that
Two.
versus.
Let's make it two. If there are two formal objections from
I don't agree with you. I think that's too small.
too small.
Because if two people object and they don't show up,
We're assuming
Right?
that, yeah, that's assuming people aren't gonna do their job. Let's assume, we're looking at the future also. We're putting things in place for the future, and this way, there's a check and a balance. I think because people get elected, there's nothing wrong with having a check to make sure that, you're being accountable. And I think having 5 people, and let's be real, the reality of us probably getting 5 people to object is probably not gonna happen that regularly, but it should still be there as an option.
and the other thing, this is not happening monthly. This happened back in June. Hasn't happened since, right?
One transaction would be caught in this trap here.
Yeah.
If you call it a
So
trap.
it's not like a regular thing,
Yeah.
right? That 250 has been sufficient
And-
for a long time, but since the pension has grown, then, now we're making bigger investments.
And I would add, I've been present at all executive committee meetings since they were created. And if there's any protest from anyone, even if they're virtually calling in and they're not members of the committee has responded and delayed or further information or tossed to the board, so.
And this would only be for investments. It wouldn't be for any other actions.
It's only for public market investments.
Probably, yeah, only for public
I mean,
market
to be
investments.
clear, it's only public.
So do you-
market.
The only investments that get big enough that actually
That's why.
reach that.
So this would not include a vote on the budget. This is only delegating the dollar amount. All those other things would automatically default to the full board, right? Am I correct?
Correct.
Only the board can approve the budget.
Okay, got it.
Do any of the new members have any? Because
Wait, can I just ask this question real quick? So, please help me understand this. What is it a timeline issue? Does the process of decreasing the amount of board members, is that a long process?
No.
Or it just
gotta do
feels
it.
like,
two separate issues.
sorry, say it again?
Just gotta do it for Will. It's presenting what it is, making sure we have the proper representation, bringing it to the CAP. PEP votes on it, then TRS has to vote on it, and then it's a change.
Let me just put a record on that. The suggestion was made. that suggestion was taken to the mayor's office for a recommendation from their legal department, and that's what we were waiting for. A recommendation from the mayor's office, and I've said this at numerous meetings, that we're waiting for the mayor's office to say, yes, we think this is something that the panel should take up and do.
So that's, it's in the process of happening?
I don't assume it's gonna be in process with this administration much longer.
Yes.
We're about to change.
I think once it changes, I think once it changes and we make the recommendation for the right reasons, I can't imagine that somebody's not gonna wanna do it.
I can.
There's a new online comment.
Go ahead.
I bet.
Can't see who's wrong. So who's it? Who's it?
That's from
Rima.
All of it went in full attendance. I can't read it.
Can somebody just read that?
There's an uneven amount of mayor-appointed members through devil's advocate, so those votes would potentially outweigh all the others in full attendance. And then the executive committee ends up majority, those mayorals choose.
Okay. What John is saying.
That was a long time ago when John was saying about the executive committee.
The mayorals have the more. So
All right.
that's why. it
But for the
reflects-
record,
Yeah.
we have been very clear. I mean, like, Tom Shepard was elected one of our co-chairs. It got all of the mayoral, I mean, like, so we haven't really enhanced anything.
We work congenially. It might not always be that way, right?
No, that's why I said devil's advocate, because like you just said, it's gonna be a different group potentially shortly. And we can't anticipate what the next group of people will do. And it will always be uneven because of the uneven makeup of the panel. So again, it's just devil's advocate that just if you go by sheer numbers, everyone else will always be outvoted. So it was just to the point.
So to clarify, also everyone be aware, because it's not a majority of the votes that wins the motion. We need 15 votes to win the motion. So be aware, if you're against this, it's not gonna, and if everything was that clear, doesn't understand, 15 votes are needed for us to pass a motion today. So that means almost everybody in the room has to say yes.
As long as we address the concern that was raised, we
Yeah,
should
my
vote
only
on it.
concern is not even the dollar amount, it's making sure people's voices are being left out. That's my concern.
We're not gonna be left out.
And that's my concern. That's where I was going with it.
I think-
I second that.
Long as it's not being used as a tool to overpass people's voice. And this has nothing, it has something to do with it, but not. Does the executive committee reach out and ask people what is their opinions? When it comes, no, they don't. So.
I send emails all the time.
Not to me.
Again, hold on a second, can I just address that?
Yeah.
Valid question. Again, I believe and I agree that there should be transparency and visibility. I don't think it's anybody's responsibility to reach out to individuals if you get the documentation. It is incumbent on you as a board member to take the time to read and learn, which you do, and decide. And it could be the statement that we're gonna be voting on this. Please take a look and express if you have any concern, and let us know.
I'll be okay with
Like you said, nobody gets paid to do this, right? And so now you're asking me to call 10 people or 15 people. I think, no, I'm just saying, again, you see what I'm saying? Again, playing devil's advocate. What I'm saying is that there is a certain level of accountability on each individual. If you care enough and you understand it and you have a real objection, it should be heard. But that's incumbent on you to raise that objection, right? I gotta tell you, I'm not calling anybody. The people I talk to regularly, if they call me, I'm gonna listen and talk and hear. And sometimes I don't even get a time to go through it, right? So I just wanna be clear about that. Everybody has the right to have transparency and to have visibility. Everybody has the right to raise a concern or raise their hand. But if I tell you I'm gonna sit here and call 25 people, I'm lying.
No.
I'm not gonna do that.
You gotta be
And I don't expect
careful.
anybody to do that for me either.
No.
So you gotta be careful about small faction having a closed meeting outside of these meetings. You gotta be careful a little bit about that too.
Well, so Shirley, would a friendly amendment to the 5 people be 5 people from representing different entities? So it's not just.
No, it should be any 5.
It's not just that. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it should be any 5 people.
I'm not questioning who's sitting on the executive committee.
No, I'm not either. I'm just.
That's not, I'm questioning that, like, let's say, we're all extremely busy and we're doing multiple stuff. We're going to vote on XYZ.
There are things that And then hear about more
Yeah,
answers.
yeah, we're gonna vote on this. This is what we're gonna do. Just like a separate email as a reminder, this is what we're voting on, right? And if you want to choose to weigh in, weigh in. I just like, it may be to remind people, because we got so many goddamn meetings just with PEP and the birds by themselves, right? So sometimes they might get overlooked. A reminder, look, we're gonna, executive committee is gonna be voting on XYZ. Please go back to your emails and review them. That's all, right? And then honestly, I'm sorry, I'm gonna curse today. That's how I feel like. We can't, so nobody can bitch and complain that they don't know.
They don't
So
know. That's right.
That's all, that's
agree
what I'm
with that.
saying. That's it.
Right? And there has to be some accountability. If you didn't know, you didn't read it, you can't hold anybody accountable but yourself.
On information, the status of online participants, their votes they count towards the vote, but they don't count towards quorum, right?
Correct.
They count for the votes, but not for the quorum.
Okay.
All right, so Sharon, we're gonna make the amendment to the proposal that says between the 250 and 350, that we are no, I mean, we should be notifying them of all the votes anyways, and allow people the opportunity, if there's an objection from 5 or more, that we will table it. It's likely it'll table before that, and to try to get to the next board meeting. If the board meeting does not have a quorum, then it gives executive committee the liberty at the next meeting to vote on it automatically.
Okay.
So moved.
So we're still in the 350 cap.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a cap at 350, right?
And what happens if it goes to the full board and there's no quorum? Does it automatically go back to
Automatic.
It goes to the executive committee next
Next
time,
one, right.
all right?
All right, so second, I second.
So, all right.
Moved it, I second,
Seconded?
yes.
All in favor of the amended proposal?
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
What about in the event that you don't have the quorum, it goes to the executive committee, but members attend the executive committee wanting to weigh in, like just to give an opinion for the executive committee? Is that gonna be permitted and will those voices be considered?
Yes, you're always welcome to come to the executive
won't have a
committee
vote.
meetings.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that like we could still attend and weigh in on the vote, even though it now defers to the committee. So that's what I wanted to be, like if one person feels real strong about something, that they could show up and their voice will still be heard.
Sure.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's correct.
Their voice will be heard, but they don't get to vote because they're not on the.
Did you hear that, Rima?
We can't hear you.
Yes, and so I guess the thing is, but like, will they be able to engage in the conversation with them? So that's what I'm, because if you're having a conversation and I have the opportunity to help you see my viewpoint that may affect your vote, then that's what I mean by a voice. I know that
Correct.
we would then defer the vote, but at least that the voice would be heard and considered, not just
Yes.
heard and, okay, great, you said that, we're not listening though.
Yep, that's
Thank
right. You're welcome. All right. All in favor of the new proposal that would, again, allow executive committee to go from 250 to 350 on the private market
Public.
with the public market, with the transparency to the full board, with an opportunity to weigh in, to make the quorum. If we don't, then it rolls to the next executive committee for a vote by that executive committee. All in favor of that proposal, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Marvelous.
Thank you. All right. Okay, now,
David John.
on to, what hell am I? The next item on the agenda is calendar item 22, adoption of the amendment to the authority and procedure, the executive committee of the Board of Education. We already did that, didn't we?
That's what you
Oh,
discussed.
sorry.
This is just putting it in the IPS.
No. The next item
Yeah,
on the
we-
agenda is calendar item 23, authorization to the executive committee to approve certain transactions. May I have a motion to consider?
I'm sorry, did we just skip over one? So what happened to resolution 22? The,
So I was in the right place. Okay, sorry.
So we just need to change the IPS to
we
reflect the
just made,
change.
yeah, But that's not one of the foundational documents. That's the actual authorization. This is the amendment to the authorization procedures of the executive committee, which are very specific governance items that are separate, even though the language is similar to other things in the IPS.
So do you need me to go through item 22?
Yes.
That's what's just coming, okay. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 22, adoption of an amendment to the authority and procedure of the Executive Committee of the Board of Education Retirement System. May I have a motion to consider? I don't know what that is. All right,
Wait, I'm
can I have a
sorry,
second?
You were looking at this page. I'm
Yes.
just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
So like which number?
Number 22,
No.
it's different.
Number
See, the
eight,
IPS has
number 8 on the agenda item.
Oh, number 8 on the agenda item, sorry.
Right, but like, this is what we're voting.
It's the same vote.
Adoption of an
Basically, we
amendment to
have
the authority
and procedure of the executive committee. But then that document is also within the IPS.
Right.
So you have to amend both documents.
Okay.
Right, so like, we're gonna amend
Yeah, it's the same.
For new people, IPS is investment policy statement. That's like our, for
Okay, so
governing.
now can you explain what this is, please?
Sure. So what was very similar to what was explained before, the IPS has many components, and some of them are language and narratives about the vision of the investment committee and where the BERS fiduciary responsibilities want to go. This is very specifically changed to the legal authority and procedure of what we just discussed, which is it's very specifically that you can go from 250 to 350 in the rule book for the executive committee, conditional on it first being previewed to the full board and if first getting a chance to have 5 objections among the full board and then go to the full board first. And if there's no quorum, then it would go to the executive committee, otherwise be voted on at that full board. So it's essentially what you just voted on that's inside of the IPS, but here it's within the governing document itself. That's really
It's just a document that's gonna say the same thing we just voted on.
Yes.
Okay.
correct.
All in favor of making the document say the same thing? Say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, what is 23? Say another one of those?
It's a little bit different. It's actually just stating, there's 2 different things. One is changing.
Let me just get a motion to,
So moved.
Yeah, let's
okay,
do it.
second?
Margie.
Okay. Now go ahead, Salil. What's number 23?
Well, sure. 23 is simply taking this authority and approving it on an annual basis, which is what you have to do. And so this is going to take the authority that was just approved and then approve it for the next year, so through December of 2026. They keep those in 2 different places, those 2 approvals.
So for everything we just voted on, want to make sure it's good through December of 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah, I'm opposed to extending it to 2026 when this board changes in July 1st of 2026. I just don't think.
Thank you. Noted, there's no opposed. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Next. All right, now, on to 24. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 24, fiscal year 2026 budget presentation. We're not doing that, right?
Yeah,
Where-
if there are any specific questions, we respond now, but we will be redistributing the summary memo, redistributing a link to the May budget presentation that Daniel Miller made to this board. And Daniel, do you want to add anything before we open it up to any specific questions?
Nope.
Nicely put. Any specific questions we can address? Because we're trying to speed through this.
I have a
Yes.
question. Obviously, budget's up for discussion, but the impact of not getting the head count that BERS is asking for, what would that look like?
So,
You,
go ahead, Daniel.
you want me to go, Cindy, you want to go? Okay, so we've looked at this, and so just some data so you're aware. As Sam said earlier, membership is up 82% since FY24. counseling sessions are up 70%. Loan and TDA transactions are up 54%. Prior service requests are up 61%, and we've had no staff growth since then. And this will only surge as the auto-enrolled folks come in, because as of this October, they're not going to apply for loans. So it's going to go up even more after that. So I'm going to put that out there. So what we would do if we don't get the headcount request, we'll have to move from things we want to do to things we have to do. So right now, members can have unlimited counseling. We would restrict counseling to members only within 3 years of retirement. Retirement estimates, right now, they can request it at any time. You would only be able to do that within 1 year of retirement. There'd be no counseling for loans or TD transactions. You would only be allowed 1 counsel session per member per year. Walk-in appointments would be reduced from 5 days a week to 2 days per week. Member outreach and beneficiary engagement will be suspended because all those auto-enrolled members automatically, so they didn't actually apply for beneficiaries, so they don't have beneficiary on file. And right now, reaching out to them, that was suspended. Right now, when you apply for prior service, you can apply for it, we'll give you the estimate, what it's going to cost, and then you decide if you're going to pay or not. So that increases workload for our staff because members can decide they didn't want to pay for it, and they can request an estimate again the next year. How other funds in the city do it is that if you apply for prior service, you have to commit to paying for it before seeing your estimate. BERS would also take that approach. The cost of the staff be reassigned to operations, cutting our staff capacity. The audit department reduced to 1 person, and our data analyst department reduced as well. So that would be all the changes we would make. OMB has said they'd like us to get 14 headcount. I'm not sure how they got that number. That's an 8% increase in staff when we've had an 82% increase in membership. So that's it.
So as the
Thank you,
chair,
Daniel.
as the chair of the audit committee, I could already tell you that the audit committee staff has been brought to 2 temporary folks who don't even have access to a lot of the systems that a day needs for them to work on. So it's already impacting us now in terms of being low staff count. But in general, I've been a student of these pension funds since the 90s, been on this board for 3 years. And I was confused about where the money for the budget comes from. Right? I thought that, at first I thought it was, we were funded by excess returns of the fund. Then I found out that that's not the case. We're actually funded by the city budget. But our income, and maybe Sadie, you want to maybe go over a little bit where the budget comes from for BERS? I think you'll explain it a little better than I will.
Yes, so contributions are calculated annually by the actuary. Mayor Iskevich calculates it as the authority. He tells the OMB and mayor's office what is required to be contributed, and they must contribute it. They have no choice. You would find that contributions of the city to the systems have been going down for the last few years. I think our contributions peaked. I have these numbers on my desk and I could run and get them, but from memory, they peaked at about 360 million 5 years ago. The contribution for this coming fiscal year, I believe, is 255 million projected by the actuary. Contributions have been coming down steadily. The reason that is the city has been very disciplined about making contributions, and our investment performance has been significantly above our 7% target rate of return.
It's also smoothed out.
Right.
It's smoothed out over 5 years.
To the actuary. Yeah, I mean, John,
I got
you're
you.
getting into a complication.
Right,
which
there's
is
machinations,
largely
but also surplus, the investment performance, our addition, the fact that we're 100% funded and the investment performance, the city keeps the surplus. So,
well, they get the benefit in lower contribution requirements. And contributions have been going down.
That's why they split it over in case there's a deficit.
right, but for the, at least, so
Protect the
in essence, would we agree that the surplus performance of the pension funds essentially means that the boards are paying for themselves?
It's a bigger question than that because the way that they do the smoothing is to protect the city in the event that there's that we don't meet the 7%, which that's why they smooth it out over time. I mean, we should really get the actuary or OMB
to give the president. Actually, I had him do a whole write-up on it. Essentially, with the way BERS has performed, I don't know about the other funds, the way BERS has performed, our excess return pays for itself in the long run, and that's why contributions will be going down. There's a whole smoothing process to make sure the city doesn't have to pay too much at one time, but this organization works pretty tightly.
Yeah,
and pretty well.
but the budget is done over a 2-year lag at with a 7% interest rate. I mean, there's other components of this that I'm sure the budget guys be happy to get into. I don't think that any of us are qualified to have that conversation.
And
The long and short of it is that we have membership that needs to have service, and we take in their money. They need to have the service that is required so that they can make the best decisions, and we can continue to serve them appropriately.
And should be served as equal to all the other public
It's equal
employees.
to all the other.
Because we have.
There is gonna
lowest
be
paid.
an ongoing conversation with OMB to discuss and make sure that we have the right mix of staffing that is necessary to support the membership. Okay? Moving on to the next thing. Any other questions? There were no other questions?
Is there anyone?
One last comment, Kareem.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a follow-up. You said OMB.
Is there anybody in front of OMB on?
They were, I don't know, I would say Edward Williams.
Ed?
Maybe someone can explain the
Nick Ring,
rationale.
yeah, I'm here.
Maybe someone can explain the rationale of an 82% increase in membership with only approximately 8% increase in headcount. I can't understand that.
Fair question.
Well, I mean, I could take this back to my principal, and you know, we could put something together and present it to the board.
And so Frank, to your point, we have been tracking the productivity of all our staff for the last 5 or 6 years. We shared all that data with OMB. We have sent them probably 70 pages of data.
Over 100, Sandy.
Over 100, thank you, Daniel. And we have a staffing model, which we've had third-party consultants help us design, which helps us manage so that we don't hire people when we don't need them. I think we have got a better understanding of our operations than I've seen public companies have. So
no question.
If you ask me, I stand on 82% increase in staff in active membership means 42% increase in headcount, 33% increase in budget expense. And I think we can defend it quite well because it'll take 2 years to get there.
We've received nothing back from OMB in writing on all we submitted to them. So I'd love to hear the rationale on 8%.
Is the question, Frank.
Exactly. Thank you.
Mayor. Is that Mayor?
Yo, Mayor.
We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, Mia, we can't hear you.
Karen, is he muted?
No, you're on mute.
Now you're good.
I think the headset's on right.
That's John.
Like something's not working.
Volume on there, maybe?
Would you say, Tony, tell us if you're being held
Uh,
back?
Just disconnect and reconnect. Sometimes it's connectivity issues, be many things.
You can also go to audio settings and do the testing and change the microphone and speakers. Maybe it's not picking up your setup.
Vanessa consults on many things.
Thanks, Tony. I had to do the
We hear
same
you.
thing.
We can't hear you, Mayor.
We're like shaking our head like he can see us.
Well, we probably won't resolve
Okay,
it
tell
until
him
the
to write it in
December
the
meeting,
chat.
so.
He said 1 second.
Right. I'd like to hear his response. He's like having a whole conversation. But not with us. He's trying
He's moving, I think he's trying to work it out. Maybe we're moving Edward's desk.
Now,
He
in my
heard about
opinion, I don't know why
budget,
they're
he
posting
just
about it.
left.
Plan to address this in December? I mean,
Yeah, this is rate he's going, it's gonna be December by the time he gets connected.
John, are you changing sides?
John, I don't know who this is.
I think you should move on.
I think so too. Until we
You're
get
gonna lose
ready, we
one.
come back. Yeah, we're gonna.
When he comes back, we'll just continue with that.
Yeah, we go to the next.
The next item on the agenda is item.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Go.
Okay.
Be quick.
Just on time.
Good.
All right, I'm here.
All right.
Omia, there was a question about the funding mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just.
The question was regarding the suggested increase versus the proposed increase from the OMB suggestion versus the BERS request.
Okay.
And why and how 14% increase would versus for an
8% increase, 8% increase in member in headcount. 8%.
increase versus a 33% increase, and what the justification is for that from OMB.
Okay. So let me start from the. It's fine. So let me start from the BRS auto enrollment, right? So OMB looking at BRS auto enrollment, adding 23,000 heads, it's a lot. It's a lot. And we do recognize that we need additional headcount for those 23,000 heads. No problem. But here's the issue. When we are looking at the data of those 23,000 heads, it seems like most of the headcount fall under very young and very less service, which is we are talking about on an average. I don't have the exact data, but we are saying that, they have on an average 2.5 years of service. That's one. Number two is these folks who is auto-enrolled. Obviously, when we are looking at, I don't have the salary information, but they did not join TDA as of yet, right? By saying that, I think major portion of the work will come when these people will be vested. They will buy back, they will accumulate their money in TDA fund. That's our assumption that most of the people, when they have enough money in TDA, they will take or draw down the money and do the buyback, right? By saying that, when I was talking to Sandy and he spent a lot of time with me, it seems like the workload it's gonna come. We are expecting in somewhere around 18 months to 2 years to 2.5 years later. What I told Sandy is that when we are hiring headcounts, and I have seen over the last 25 years with all retirement systems, once you hire people, it's very difficult to repurpose them again. So right now, the OMB suggestion that when we hire 14 people in different area and train them, and within 18 months, we're going to have enough data that how these 23,000 heads buying their service credit, going into TDA, how many times they're calling the center, how much information we have to provide them. We will have a better idea that which unit need more headcounts. And in that time, we are open to discuss again.
Respectfully, the assumption is wrong.
Pardon?
You did not respectfully, the assumption is incorrect. Yes, they're younger members. Yes, they might have years of service lower, but they still make phone calls. They just hit their 1 year applying for loans. That's going to skyrocket. They still come for counseling. So there's still transactions that young members take. I have 21 years experience at BERS. I wouldn't suggest how to run OMB. I don't think it's the place of OMB to say with an assumption for what BERS done or exactly that we do. All due respect.
Look.
Well, here's the thing. This is not the time for this discussion. I apologize. It's 6 o'clock and the meeting's about to end. So we have time scheduled with OMB on Friday. If there continues to be a disagreement, I would recommend that OMB presents at the next board meeting in December, so we can make a decision on the.
Yep. That will be great, Corinne. On Friday, I think I can walk Sandy through our assumptions and where we are adding people. And certainly we are open for discussion, and we'll see that if Sandy has data which shows us that where the assumptions are wrong, we are open for discussion.
Okay.
Can we have that in writing, please, before Friday? We've received nothing from you so far.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. Next item on the agenda is calendar item 25, Authorization to enter into an agreement with Siegel Markle Advisors to provide investment consulting services to the Board of Education Retirement System. May I have a motion to consider?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Alice.
Thank you. Salil, can you share this
Sure.
with us?
Yeah, so we recommend continuing to retain Siegel Marco Advisors as the public markets investment consultant for BERS. They have a long-standing relationship with this pension plan. Vanessa Vargas, who you saw on the line, she's been providing tailored service. She's a senior consultant. She's also just a product of their own DI efforts, having a minority woman as our lead consultant. Some of the details of the process is that, first of all, there were 4 RFP candidates. None of them had MWB preference applied to them. One candidate was RV Kunz. They were a little bit cheaper, but that's only one of the 5 metrics for evaluating consultants. Siegel scored higher in the bulk of the sort of functional areas like organizational capacity, performance, reliability in producing reports for us, and the alignment with the BERS mission. Also integrating with our liability risk modeling, which I've done, and it has been helpful in choices from an asset allocation perspective. There will also be fewer transition issues, as you noticed this year. For example, on the private market side, we had some hiccups by having one consultant leave, another one pick up, and we've lost some momentum along the way. So in terms of the fees that we'd be approving, we're currently on a contract with a Siegel at $243,500 a year. That's up from $240,000 last year in 2024. So we're going to burn through at that rate until this contract, if it were to get approved. And at that point, it would pick up at its first year at $258,000. And over a 5-year horizon, it would come in at $1.4 million.
What's the term?
Averaging $280,000 a year. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a 5-year term?
5 years, Tony.
No. I'm just saying, giving you a sort of a.
What's the term though? Is it 5 years, the contract?
It's 1 year. It's a 3-year contract with 2 1-year extensions. So I'm just giving you the total liability if you ran the full 5 years, just to show it to you in different ways. Yeah, it would step up based on inflation a little bit every year. So yeah.
Okay.
That's the recommendation.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Salil. We'll now vote on this item. All in favor? Yes, go ahead.
Can they discuss this firm's record on BIPOC investments and what they brought to us in terms of supporting the mission that the board has established around that? How they've outreached to BIPOC firms, how they've outreached, could you share with us their record and numbers around that? Like you did.
Salil, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can.
Is Vanessa gone?
Well,
She's there.
I am here. Would you like me to go over?
Yeah, I'd like to know what outreach you've been doing, how have you been
Sure.
reaching out? Because I keep running into firms that just don't seem to be getting access.
On the public side?
On the
On-
public side?
No, this is public.
Yeah, this is
Just-
public only.
Not
Okay.
private.
this is
All right.
public. Myself, Daniel, and Chitra were on the selection committee. And this is also relative to the other firms that were competing as well.
It's not private.
It's not private, but it's public, but I'm happy to tell you what Siegel Marco does. So we have our own diversity committee within our research group made out of individuals in each of the asset classes. They attend a lot of conferences that are for minority diverse owner-owned firm, and that's how they get contacts in. We do have an open door policy, so a manager reaches to us. We meet with them and work with them to start a process of due diligence. In terms of, we go out to the full database that we have of managers and ask them on an annual basis to complete a survey so we can keep track of not just diverse managers, but also larger firms? And are they improving in their diversity statistics within the teams that manage some of the strategies that are invested, that we put money to work with on behalf of our clients? And if you recall, specific to BERS, we participated in the diverse searches. You have exponents in your portfolio, you have few in your portfolio that we've recommended. We recently added Earnest Partners to your portfolio, that is a Black-owned firm.
That was when Wellington, we swapped.
Correct. When you did the last asset allocation, we make sure that more dollar amounts from that asset allocation went to exponents, Pew, so all of your diverse managers, so they were part of that rebalancing. So the assets that they manage on your behalf increased rather than stayed at the same level.
And if on the,
Thank you, Vanessa.
and on Siegel Marco's behalf, I'd also like to say that Vanessa was instrumental in terms of moving what our target size for managers were to include more managers of diverse proportions. At some point it needed to go higher because we weren't getting enough good managers as years ago. But now Vanessa's been very clear that in order to get the managers that we want, we need to have smaller dollar amounts so that we could do $10 million. Before we were unable to do $10 million allocations. That was under Vanessa's auspices that we were able to reduce that. So I just want to,
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. We will now vote on this item. All in favor of approving calendar item 25, please respond in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 26, authorization to enter into an agreement with Capstone Strategy Group LLC to provide automated identity verification solution for integration into the Board of Education Retirement System Comprehensive Pension Management System. May I have a motion to consider?
so moved.
May I have a second?
Second, Alice.
Second.
All right, thank you. Burns, Deputy Director of Information Security, Shams Ahmed is here to discuss this agenda item.
Yes, okay, the ID.me, the product we chose, it is basically will be used for our members who will be able to use it and do online application, login and other stuff, what they are not able to do now. But with this application there in place, it will be more safe and secure. This product we chose after researching many products. This product is being used by the federal government agencies like IRS, SSA, New York State, Labor Department. So we, as a technical team and our procurement team and the team we created here, we chose this product and we want it to be approved so we can go forward and deploy it and let our members enjoy doing business from home safely and securely.
Thank you. We'll now vote on this item. All in favor of approving can I ask a quick question? What's the value of this contract? What's the term of the contract?
Shams?
If I may,
Thanks.
good
How much?
afternoon, everyone. It's a 5-year contract. The amount is $1,391,250 with a 2-year option for renew.
So it's in essence a 7-year term?
Correct.
It says 8.
What's his eight?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's 1 through 5 for $825K, and then years 6 through 8, $566K for the 3-year option.
1 through 5, 825, and then 6 through 8 is how much?
$566,250,000. The grand total for the full term is $1,391,250.
Is this our first time using this vendor?
Yes.
Yes.
And this is a competitive solicitation or was this a? Okay.
It was an RFP. We had 8 proposals that went through the first round of evaluation, and then 2 proposals that went through the second round where Capstone, who is an New York City minority vendor certified, was awarded the contract.
Thank you.
Just to, this is obviously a service that the other pension funds could use. Has there been any discussion or consultation with the other funds about what service they're using for this same service?
Some numbers.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for bringing in an MWBE. I appreciate that. We're gonna take this to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 27, authorization to amend an agreement with Vitech Systems Sub LLC. May I have a motion to consider?
Sure, Ada.
Have a second?
Alice.
Are you seconding or you asking?
I need
questions?
it.
No, I was gonna second.
Okay,
Alice involved first.
thank you. Sandy will tell us about this.
Yes, so our relationship with Vitech is many years long. When we went to their new offering Velocity, we went to a software as a service hosted by AWS off premises. And it was an indefinite contract in negotiations with the law department because they're concerned about having indefinite contracts. We will amend the contract to go till December 31st, 2028. The annual fees related to this contract, well, they're not summarized here, but call it $1 million service fee, $96,000 self-service digital fee, and a $34,000 managed service fee for the first year. So basically $1.2 million, $1.25 million in 2027, $1.28 million for 2028. I would point out to the fact that this service that Velocity is providing us, Vitech is providing us through Velocity, replaces Prudential, which 8 years ago was costing us $5.5 million a year. So this not only is improving our service to our members, but it is providing it at a reasonable cost.
And the performance has been good?
Very good.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, we're gonna move to a vote. All in favor of approving calendar item 27, please respond in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Annual update on climate change. The next item on the agenda is calendar item 28, annual update on climate change. May I have a motion to discuss?
Madam Chair, should we move to action items?
What are the action items? So I was gonna ask.
Well, the things that require a vote,
Yeah, can we,
There are a couple of cars downstairs already,
Yeah.
so I think maybe we should,
we need to.
I have to go. My son is sleeping.
All right, so it looks like 29 and 18, 29 and 32 are the only action items.
Can I just do these last two real quick?
Sure.
We're gonna move to 29. Next item on the agenda is calendar item 29, Developed Market X request. May I have a motion to consider?
so moved.
A second?
Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley. John? Wait. For real.
Merceburg. Oh, yes, sure.
John
This is- yeah, John
Merceburg.
Merceburg's from BAMS. But he was on earlier.
Executive session?
This for executive.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think he left. He just left.
But I can discuss this, Salil, if you
All right,
want.
first,
I
can we
have-
go into executive session? Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
People
Yeah.
need to leave,
Oh, we can't do this outside of executive session.
but then we may have to delay it till the next meeting.
Are we gonna lose them all?
Yeah, not the only one, it's other people.
No.
It's not just me.
Yeah.
We got a lot done, Corey.
All right, so.
We got a lot done.
So these listed on time.
So if you,
No.
we're at we're at
John?
17, so Mario is,
It's
Margie is
information.
Alice,
Okay.
It's
we're
not
down to
action.
14.
It's an action.
So am I gonna close out this meeting?
Because we're down to 14, if Mario, Alice, and Margie leave,
Yeah, we're-
and then, Joanna, and then we're down to 13.
Motion.
We will,
Motion.
Alright, so at this
Everybody's
point, so going back.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Early. Thank you.